Well, let's bring our next guest. He is amazing also. Andreas Wilderer is the founder of Globularity, a strengths-based coaching company, and he is originally from Germany. He is living now in Pittsburgh, and he is actively exploring the ripple effects that come from creating gender equality in society, because that does cause for some change. And he helps people increase their adaptability quotient so that they can lean into those changes. Andreas, where are you at? Come on up and say hey.
Hi, Rhonda. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Hi, Jason. All this positivity here, that's really enthusiastic coming in here. My positivity is number 34, so I have number 1 to 34. It's a big difference.
Well, and it doesn't seem like it's that low for you. You seem very positive coming in. So for you to have it 34 and I have it 33, I think you wear it better than I do.
Oh, that's all this harmony. That's my 32, bringing it up a little bit more. So
that is hilarious. Tell us your top 5, Andreas.
My top 5 are deliberative, analytical, significance, restorative, and individualization.
Wow. Look at that. Deliberative, analytical, significance, restorative, and individualization.
Yes.
Wow. Look at that. Jason.
Yeah.
He has deliberative higher than you do.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, no, you both have it number 1. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm thinking of Win.
And I have analytical up there, and not restorative. I have relator up high 7, but anyway.
My relator is number 10, so close to you.
Yeah, I'm right there. So, Andreas, tell us a little bit about your journey, because in your story that I was reading, it's kind of interesting that you were a Mr. Mom for a while, and then you learned about the strengths and really got into it. So tell us how that all came about and how that's changed your life.
So I'm a Mr. Mom for 11 years now, or better, when we got my wife got pregnant and she went back to work, and her work brought us over to the US, and I couldn't work at the beginning. So there was originally right from that point that I stayed home with the kids and she went back to work. And so we stuck with that model. Now they are a little bit older and I can start working, but it's still me as Mrs. Mom who does everything and taking care of the doctor appointments and going to school, doing all this while she's out and working and being the breadwinner. So, and that was also the reason why I started to explore what ripple effects this has, this changed model of family. When you have suddenly all those females going to work, being the main breadwinner, and how does society or we men have to change to support the females, and what does that mean? So that's what I'm writing about. I hope the book comes out about the end of the summer, and there's a full chapter about strengths in there, since strengths is such a great tool to understand each other in a partnership or support each other better, you and the partner, and of course the children. So I have 2 kids and we've done the assessment with them too, so the Strengths Explorer, and this was also just enlightening. So I love Gallup Strengths. It's such a clean tool and you can use it in so many different ways besides work, where most of us are exposed to it. So
what first led you to take the assessment?
My wife forced me to do it. she got the book, she got it through work, and then she came home and said, here, you have to do the test. And it took me, I think, 3 months and several reminders to say, yep, now please do it. And this was in 2014. And it took another year until I really appreciated it. And I went to a coaching session, and suddenly it was the big difference between just getting the top 5, the assessment, you read through it, you put it away, and you never think about it. And then suddenly you go to a coaching session. I heard a great keynote speaker, and then it was the moment we adapted it in our life. So I can just recommend, if you take the assessment, go out and do more with it than just put it in the drawer.
Wow, that's really the same message Jennifer just gave us, is that coaching is essential to really fully understanding the test result or the assessment results, but also to really start to apply it. So totally agree.
I think so. And it's not only the coaching, but the conversation you suddenly start. If you say, oh, I can't afford a coach, and you have it with your partner, sit at least down with him or her and start talking about the assessment, comparing it, and doing every assessment comes with great tools. Put it on your calendar and say, every week I do one of those tools. And I think there are close to 30 tools with it, or things you have thought about. So that's half a year you're already there and working your strengths. So of course a coach does it better and helps you faster, but that's a good start to do it.
So I have a question. What do you think now? Your wife came home and said, you take this test, and it still took you 3 months to take it. Why
now
is that?
I regret that it took this long, and I'm very glad I took it. So it's changed our lives. So me, deliberative, analytical, I need a long time to make a decision. So she has activator as number 2. Just imagine what that difference when we have to decide something.
I don't have to imagine. I live with that. Exactly, live with that. My husband has deliberative number 1.
And now we can appreciate our strengths, and we talk really open about it. And she says to me, don't be this deliberative, just do something. And I say, don't be this activator, and let's think a little bit about it. So it's a great combination. And I think just the awareness of knowing more about it and understanding each other is so powerful.
Yeah. How much did that change your relationship, or did it change your relationship to learn those strengths about each other? And I have to imagine, I'm going to say this from my personal aspect, I mean, just my wife understanding deliberative made a huge difference in our relationship. So I'm curious how it worked for you.
I think for us it helped a lot. So we have a not quite normal family model, and we are moving a lot. So our son is 11 years old, and this is address number 6 for him. So we are constantly moving. My wife is constantly on the road, close to 3 out of 4 weeks she's traveling. So there's a high stress in there, a lot of change happening all the time. And knowing our strengths, this is one part we can really relate to it and understand each other way better and handle more consciously decisions or problems that are coming our way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really love the way you focus on this this leaning into the equality, you know, what you're talking about, the gender equality, and being able to use your talents and your strengths as an approach to that. Because it is, you know, you say that you have an unusual family model, which you do. However, it is becoming more and more common. And so being out there and being able to work with people to understand it through the lens of talent and strength is really a significant thing that you're bringing.
You say it right. It's coming. It's being more and more coming. It was one of the first year that we have more female graduates from college than male graduates from college. So, and we have more females starting their own small businesses than men starting their small businesses. So there is a huge need for that mind shift change. We will not see the numbers right away, when just because we have now more and more females starting at work or being so much, there will be still most families that she stays at home or takes more care of the family, which is fine, but change is happening. And by doing here, taking your strengths in it and helping those new families or those relationships, that's a big help. We need everybody out there to, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's now men are raising children more or taking more responsibilities, and they have to step up and step out of the shadow. I think there are more out there who are helping their females and are standing in the shadow and not speaking openly proud about it, which we can be proud of, about and raising our kids or being the man at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I'm going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, Rhonda, but I'm curious as to if you've, Andreas, yet found the reasoning behind that shift. I mean, what are you seeing as why are more women graduating from college? Why do we see more women taking that dominant role, if you will, in the workplace than ever before?
So that's a very good question. I think it has a lot to do with that we are in the third emancipation role here, or we have a lot more ladies leaning in. Sheryl Sandberg did a great start with here, just bringing out the word. And of course, Me Too. No matter what you think about Me Too, I would say it's more like Me 3. That's where we should go. And this helps to bring up a lot of problems we have not talked about in the past. And it's encouraging ladies and females to step out there and just go for it.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, I find it interesting the way that you said this, that more men are stepping into this role of the father and everything. But I mean, are you seeing statistically that men are doing this? Because I think the bad rap that we get is that, you know, we're not engaged in our families, that we're not there to be responsible for our children, which is, frankly, I mean, I've heard that from people, and it's, you know, I think there's a lot of fathers like myself that kind of take offense to that. And I mean, the way that we're portrayed in the media, you know, TV shows, the way that men are portrayed, you know, as being aloof goofballs, you know, just caring about sports or whatever, and not really being active in the family. But that's something that bothers me. But you're actually saying that you're seeing more men taking on this caretaker position. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, and so that's a very good point to make here. There are more men out there who are already taking on the caretaker position, and they are doing it great. And most of the times when we see problems in the relationship, in the families, is when the female don't let go of it. If you are the female and decide, okay, I'm going to be the breadwinner, and then the consequence must be I need to empower my husband to do the way he wants to do it, so that he really can use all his strengths to do what he thinks it's right. And it might not be the way that she would do it, but it's also the right way. So this is a big problem, and that's what one chapter in my book is about too. You need to empower your partner to do what he thinks it's right. Only if then he buys in it, he does it with pride and says, okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm not goofing around. I'm not sitting on the couch the whole day and drinking beer and watching TV. No, he is doing what he's want to do. So, and there is a big step back from the ladies to say, okay, I need to let him do it his way, even if I think other would be better.
Yeah, because, you know, you're crossing over into traditionally a role that women would have always had. And I hear what you're saying is that if she goes back to work to be the breadwinner and leave him at home to be the Mr. Mom, she needs to let go and let him be Mr. Mom the way he needs to be it.
Yes. So, for example, if he lets the kids play in the mud and comes back in, he has to clean up the mess afterwards. And maybe he wants to do it. And she would say, oh, don't take off your shoes before you come into the house. Small examples like that. Daddy does it different than mom does. And if daddy is half in charge at home or is taking care of the home, it must be his decision what are the rules. And he must be his own boss, and not that. I've seen a lot of examples during my research where she went back to work and made even the play dates for him and just gave the father a driving list. You have to drop them there, and there at this time. So, of course, then if you delegate it like this, then the dad doesn't become a real caretaker, but more a Uber driver. And this is the problem we have out there, that many say, oh, dads are only babysitters or Uber drivers for the kids. And this has to change.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, we use the term Mr. Mom because I think we were probably all around when that movie came out. And so we refer to that. Anybody younger probably doesn't know what the heck we're talking about. But if you really want to get down to what you're speaking of, it's almost a derogatory statement to say Mr. Mom, because it really should be, this is the dad's responsibility, or, you know, you're a stay-at-home dad, but you are the caretaker. You're the man. You are accepting the responsibilities of the father role in that situation, and you should be referred to as such, in my opinion.
Yes. So that's a good, sometimes when you say stay home mom, stay home dad, for example, from the wording, to be honest, which stay home mom stays home? It sounds like we are sitting at home and doing nothing. The person who is home and having the active role in caregiving is as busy, or sometimes even more busy, than the person, the breadwinner. So stay home is already the wrong wording per se.
Well, and certainly we can get caught up in the PC and the semantics of that and everything. And even the Mr. Mom thing, I mean, you know, I'm just throwing that out as an example of, you know, where as men, sometimes we get that bad rap. But, you know, my wife does stay at home. She takes care, she's the home manager. So, I mean,
I like that. I think we may have a new term, home manager.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've heard that before, but I mean, that's what she does. I mean, she manages the home. She makes sure everything's running correctly there, and that's great. And we have that kind of more typical, I guess, traditional roles, where you, Andreas, are the reverse, and I think that's great. I mean, each couple should be able to do whatever works best for them. But I do think that in that we have to be careful not to what am I trying? I hate it when my words don't come out.
Judge.
Not to judge that in a derogatory way. Either way, I mean, there's nothing wrong with both parents working and them sending their kids to school. There's nothing wrong if the mom wants to be at home and take care of the management of the home, and there's certainly nothing wrong if the father wants to take that role, if the mom has the better career path.
So I think that's the right point, the most important point of all of those. Every family has to choose their family model like they think it fits for them, and we have to be all very diverse and very open to those ideas. And we have from she stays home and he goes to work to she goes to work, he stays home, or we have two moms or two dads in the picture. So all those have to work, and we need to be very diverse and open as society to support every of those models. And the family itself, only the partners can decide what is the best. And I'm giving a few ideas and tools in my book about how would you make the decision. Like, do you start KPIs like we see at work? You can start taking KPIs from work and put it in your personal life, not to control you, but to give you more freedom about things that you can do too.
Yeah. Wow. That's so interesting. Andreas, tell us, you know, we're talking about these talents and how they can, you know, we use them in strengths, and sometimes we have to wrestle with some, you know, like we kind of need to get over ourselves in a little bit, you know, if you want to put it that way. we trip up on ourselves. So tell us where you struggle in this whole, you know,
I struggle with deliberative and analytical, to be so slow in my problem making, and restorative in dealing with problems doesn't make it even better. So some of those, if I want to make a decision or if I act very slow. So I need someone who is an activator. I need someone who helps me to stop thinking and just do something. And on the other side, my positivity, my includer, my harmony, and my woo are all down there in the 30s. So sometimes I need also someone who has more cheer and brightens it up.
Hey.
Yes, I like it.
I will kick you in the activator. Yeah, you know, we all struggle. We all have our, and I would imagine that I can only imagine, because these are talents that are really low for me, is that deliberative and analytical, that you can get kind of locked up with checking it one more time. And is there any more data? And how can I, in your decision making, that you're always using every minute of time available until there's no more left. And that's when you're going to move.
I have a learner in number 11 and ideation in number 9. So even blowing those slow processes up and making it even slower, since I can learn something more, or I can understand this problem a little bit more, this fascinated by the new ideas. So this is where I struggle most with those strengths. On the other hand, every strength is a strength, and being deliberative helps me a lot. And to people like it, when I make a recommendation, I have thought through it, and they say, okay, if it comes from Andreas, he knows what he's talking about. He has thought about it.
Yeah, when you speak, it's very deliberative. It's very deliberate. And that's why people pay attention, because you don't speak often, probably. And therefore, when you really do express an opinion, everybody knows that it's very well thought out, thought through. You've analyzed it to the nth degree. And so we can trust that.
You can trust it. And my individualization helps me to most of the time step back and let people with a lot of woo and positivity take over the room, because they want to have the room. Of course, if I would be just with Jason together, I would maybe step up one more and let him talk, or me talk myself. But normally we need to step back there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Debbie says she doesn't care if positivity is your number 34. You have not stopped smiling and shining.
Thank you.
And then she says, let's see, we have one more comment, and now, and she says, you're proof positive that low positivity does not mean high negativity.
Yes.
Very, very important point, Debbie. Thank you for bringing that up, because it is true. If your talents are lower, you have some low stacked down below it. It doesn't mean you don't have them. You still do. I have consistency at number 34. So, I can tell y'all, I brush my teeth every day. Aren't you happy? I consistently brush my teeth every day, more than once, And so this is where, don't try to put me into a consistency, something that, a program or anything like that, because I can promise you I'm not going to be consistent. I don't remember the rules, because I don't think they're, I know there are rules, but they should be broken at every opportunity. So it's sort of an added, a philosophy, a life philosophy. Rules? Ooh, let me figure out a way around that, because that's where my first automatic go-to is to go around it. Although I will be happy to tell y'all, I have never been arrested. So that's a good thing.
Congratulations.
So I'm not breaking all the rules, but if I get stopped for a speeding ticket, I might go, I didn't see it.
I can totally see you doing this.
Oh, I know.
And probably the officer stopping you will say, oh, let's close an eye and you can keep on going.
No, I can promise y'all I have gotten every ticket I've ever been stopped for. Debbie says there's a big misunderstanding that low positivity attaches itself to low negativity, and it doesn't. As I've said about Jason, you see through the lens of risk because of deliberative. Yeah. Yes. And look at Debbie. She says we break the rules or at least bend them. Debbie, yes. I promise you, I'm like way lower than you, dear. Like a bunch. So, wow. What a fascinating conversation. I'm so glad you came by to visit with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and such, new information and thinking it through with these, the decisions that families make, and how knowing their talents and strengths and actually working with a coach like you, it can really help them manage those relationships, really, frankly, whether they are traditional or non-traditional.
Yes, I think strengths and strengths coaching can help everyone, relationship or singles. And so if you've done the assessment, go out and find a coach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I am so glad you came by to hang out with us. Tell us now, Globularity, tell us where we can reach you.
You can find me in globularity.com or hit me on LinkedIn, Andreas Wilderer. There's only one out there, so that's nice with my name. Or you can just Google Andreas Wilderer and I will pop up right on top of your Google search. So globularity.com, hit me up and we can talk from there.
You bet. Well, thank you so much for coming today. We're so glad we got to see you.
Yes, thank you.
You bet. And we'll see you in the main room in a few minutes. Thanks. Wow. What a great conversation. So interesting.
Yeah, very fascinating. I think overall, both of our guests today were very, very interesting. And,
hey, you know, they showed up well for Pittsburgh, didn't they?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, rocking the house.
Rocking the house out. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we're so glad you guys came out to hang out with us. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week on Wednesday. We're here Wednesday mornings. And Jason, tell everybody where they can reach you.
You can find my website at destinycreative.co. And you can also find me on social media. Just look up Baffrey, Baffrey, and you'll find me.
There you go, destinycreative.co. And you can find me at rhondaboyle.com. And I have a tip sheet for you. If you want to go to tips.rhondaboyle.com, I will be happy to send that out to you. Just some tips to help you grow and develop your talents into strengths. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye. Have a great week.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Yep.